With inflation hitting a new 40-year high and the threat of a recession looming, Americans right now are looking for some guidance from Washington. Joining us now to discuss this, Texas Congressman Kevin Brady, ranking member of the House Ways and Means Committee. Congressman Brady, good morning.
Good morning, Eugene. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. Thanks for being here with us, sir. Now, shortly after this inflation report was released, you issued a statement saying the president has failed. You say America is in a wage price spiral, meaning, higher wages leading to higher prices and so on and so on. So talk us through this. What do you see happening in our economy at this moment?
Yeah, so look, yesterday I think everyone was bracing for a bad report. Turned out to be worse than we had thought. So prices right now are growing 3 times faster than paychecks are growing. So for an average family in America, it means you've lost ground by about $5,700 over the last year or so, which is why most Americans feel like they're financially worse off now than they were during the height of the COVID pandemic. Not a good sign. We also got bad news from small businesses yesterday. Their optimism about the future is at the lowest ever recorded, and for mainly the same reason. Inflation is just hammering them. Of course, they can't find workers. So I believe we are in the middle of a wage price spiral, which no country wants to be in, because the only way really to end it is through a recession. My frustration has been, I don't think President Biden or the Federal Reserve, admitted how strong and how high inflation was last year. And they were also, I think, in denial about the labor shortage, which has driven so much of our inflation. Right now, I think they're doing the same thing for this wage price spiral. I think denial hasn't worked out well for the White House on the economy. I think for the president to step up, admit really where we're at and take decisive action, I think that would be key.
So these are the issues. Let's talk about solutions now. We've heard the administration refer to Putin's price hike when it comes to gas prices. Republicans blaming the administration's lack of action or late action for these price hikes. Some may look at Washington right now and say it's just a lot of finger pointing. So tell us, what can Congress actually do, or is this right now just in the hands of the Fed?
No, I think when Congress played a big role. White House, certainly in Democrats in Congress, with that nearly $2 trillion COVID stimulus, that's when inflation took off in a serious way in America. So the solutions are stop making it worse. I think freeze federal spending beyond defense, certainly end the COVID era programs that have driven so much of the inflation, step back from the Build Back Better efforts, because those will not only drive up prices on families, but also tax increases that hammer our Main Street businesses. So step away from the policies that are driving this inflation, I think, would be the best advice for the president and for Congress.
And before we let you go this morning, I want to talk about an issue that your state's been dealing with a lot. We're talking about Title 42, set to expire next month. There's a bipartisan effort right now to stop that from happening, fearing a massive migrant surge. Just yesterday, Texas Governor Greg Abbott tweeted, Texas National Guard conduct mass migration drills in preparation for an influx of illegal immigrants crossing the southern border. This follows my directive to bolster our state's border security efforts in the wake of the Biden administration revoking Title 42. So Congressman Brady, we ask you, what are you hearing right now on the Hill about this bipartisan effort, and how is this going to play out in your view?
Yeah, here in Texas, I'm doing town halls all this week. It is the #1 issue for Texans, certainly because we pay such a steep price for these open borders. Certainly, Houston is the #1 sex trafficking region in the country. We're seeing record amounts of fentanyl and the drug overdoses that hit our young people at record levels as well. Title 42 ending means about 3 million illegal migrants crossing in the U.S. over the next 6 months. The administration is not prepared to handle it.
Can Congress stop it from ending? Can Congress stop
What's that, sir?
Can Congress stop it from ending?
We are trying, but we certainly at this point, we don't have the votes in the House. Perhaps there is more of a bipartisan effort in the Senate. I hope they can just pause this, keep Title 42 in place. The country's not, frankly, this is, in my view, a cruel and reckless thing to do for this country. We need to get a better grasp of our southern border.
Congressman Kevin Brady from Texas, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, sir.
Have a great day. Thanks again.
You too.